That
Administrative Secretary of Ministry of Environment, Olumide Kinga, commended Governor Aiyedatiwa for his consistent drive towards environmental sustainability, and set a theme for 2025 World Environment Day. Ending plastic pollution is a critical call to action to preserve marine life, ensure ecosystem balance, and ensure human health.
Depends upon how we treat our environment, our air, our water, our soil should be treated well so that we can keep us best. As a matter of fact, this World Environment Day, this is the 52nd edition. It was started in 1973, where environmental issues were brought to the front runner. We have been doing it year in year out because Nigeria is sensibility to that trend. So as a matter of fact, the World Environment Day is a day that should be marked worldwide to give environmental concern to all issues of life.
Kinga emphasized the need to cut back on plastic production and consumption, promote reusability, and discourage the dumping of plastics in rivers and canals, action that often result in flooding, erosion, and the loss of lives and property. The day's activities featured a sensitization roadshow organized by the Ondo State Ministry of Environment in collaboration with key environmental stakeholders across the state. Nule Aruyo, Osrc News.
On the political scene, the All Progressives Congress, APC in Ondo State, has criticized the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for its reaction to the recent Electoral Tribunal verdict, labeling it as an attempt to intimidate the judiciary. The APC condemned the PDP's assertion that APC members celebrated prematurely at the court, suggesting prior knowledge of the verdict as an unwarranted assault on the integrity of Nigeria's judicial system. The APC emphasized that such insinuations undermine the judiciary's dedication and disrespect the democratic process. The party called on the PDP to issue an unreserved apology to the judiciary and the voters of Ondo State who overwhelmingly supported Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. According to the APC, the PDP's claims of judicial manipulations is a reaction to its electoral laws. The ruling party, while advising the PDP to address internal issues, urged the people of Ondo State to continue supporting the administration of Governor Aiyedatiwa, which it says is working for the state's betterment. Tomato production is an agricultural practice that was once mainly rooted in northern Nigeria. But in recent years, tomato farming has begun to thrive in the southwest, especially in parts of Ondo State. In Akure and suburbs, farmers are embracing tomato cultivation with the hope that it becomes the state's next economic gold mine. Blessing Obi tells us more.
Tomato, the bright red fruit that is a staple in many Nigerian meals, is now at the center of a growing agricultural shift. While the crop has long been associated with the northern part of the country, based on its 80% contribution of Nigerians' tomato output, a quiet revolution is taking place in the southwest. Nigeria is the 14th largest producer of tomatoes globally, with an annual output of over 2.5 million metric tons, according to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Despite this, over 45% of harvested tomatoes perish post-harvest due to poor preservation and logistics, a gap many in Ondo now seek to fill. Communities like Idonre, Akure North, and Akure South are witnessing a boom in tomato cultivation, challenging the long-held belief that tomatoes thrive only in the north. Many farmers, once skeptical about the region's soil and climate, are now cultivating tomatoes successfully.
Most people believe tomato can't do well in the southwest. This urge started, that is the urge to produce by ourselves, started about 3 or 4 years ago when there was a little crisis between the northerners and the people at the south end of Nigeria. where they decide to withdraw their supply to our end here. With the kind of soil, with the kind of atmosphere God gave us over here, none of those products or none of those crops that are grown in the north that cannot do well here, they can do better.
They say it is labor intensive, but the returns make it worthwhile. Some report earnings of up to 800,000 naira per harvest cycle per hectare, far more than what they made from traditional crops like cassava or maize.
If you maintain it the way you are supposed to maintain it, you get your result. If you are able to do 1 hectare of tomato successfully, if you don't make profit, at least you make profit of almost 10 million, if not more than. You make profit, but the labor is much.
Today, tomatoes grown in Akure are not only sold in local markets, they are transported to cities like Ibadan, Lagos, and even as far as Port Harcourt.
For the past 4 years, without mixing word, Ondo State and Ekiti State tomato production flooded the market of Ibadan and my 12 about to volume of 70-75%. And it has done a lot of, it has retarded the northern so much of bringing tomato to south because they notice the market is not actually favorable to them.
Traders and consumers are gradually shifting attention to locally grown tomatoes, especially as northern supply chains face challenges from insecurity and transportation costs. If current trend continues, Ondo State could become the leading tomato producer in the southwest, reducing dependence on distant suppliers and boosting local economies.
Apart from the red gold, which is oil palm, in Ondo State presently, I should be specific, in Ondo State presently, the red gold is the first. And either we like it or not, for the past about 2 years specifically, I just have to be 2 years specifically, tomato producers had been on the line in the second gold mine in this state. And they are making it big time, either we like it or not.
With targeted investments in irrigation, cold storage, and agro-processing, experts believe tomato farming could be a game changer, transforming not just diets but livelihood. Blessing Obe, Osrc News.
Into issues of governance, President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja following a 13-day visit to Lagos. During his stay, he participated in the Golden Jubilee anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States and celebrated this year's Eid al-Adha festival. Upon arrival, the president was welcomed by a delegation of senior government officials, including the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, and the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. Immediately after landing, President Tinubu departed the airport for the International Conference Center, where he proceeded to inaugurate the newly rehabilitated facility, a project overseen by the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, renamed the Abuja International Conference Center Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center. The minister also disclosed that other halls in the facility had been renamed after Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, and Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kikirieko. In the National Assembly, we hold a special joint sitting on June 12 in honor of Democracy Day, with President Tinubu expected to attend as special guest of honor to commemorate this year's Democracy Day celebration. The development was formally conveyed to members by the Clerk of the House of Representatives, Dr. Yahaya Danzaria. The special joint sitting is scheduled to hold at the House of Representatives Chamber, National Assembly Complex, with preliminary proceedings ahead of the arrival of President Tinubu. The theme for this year's celebration is 26 years of democracy, renewing our commitment to national development. Dr. Danzaria urged all Nigerians to embrace the spirit of Democracy Day as a time for reflection, renewed patriotism, and commitments to building a more inclusive, prosperous, and united nation. Meanwhile, the Joy Youth Council Worldwide, IYC, has urged President Bola Tinubu to demonstrate his commitment to democratic values by using the symbolic occasion of June 12 to reinstate Governor Siminalayi Fubara and all duly elected lawmakers in Rivers State. The call comes in the wake of Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers on March 18, prompted by the prolonged political standoff between FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara. IYC President Theophilus Alaye emphasized that restoring Fubara and the assembly members would send a powerful message reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to the rule of law and democratic governance. He warned that any deviation from the electoral mandate not only betrays the will of the Rivers people, but also weakens the democratic foundations of the nation. Alaye further noted that sidelining elected representatives undermines public confidence in governance and sets a troubling precedent that Nigeria can ill afford. He stressed that the Ijaw people, renowned for their dedication to peace and fairness, will continue to observe the situation in Rivers State with measured patience and cautious optimism. In another development, the Apex Igbo Social-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndigbo, has called on the federal government to release the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, describing his continued detention as unjust and unacceptable. This resolution was part of a communique issued at the end of a two-day Ohaneze Ndigbo leadership retreat held in Enugu. In one of its resolutions, the retreat unequivocally condemned in strong terms the continuous detention of Nnamdi Kanu, whom before now has been acquitted by a court of competent jurisdiction. The communique urged the federal government to find an alternative solution to his matter and release him. The retreat emphasized unity, economic revitalization through investments in Igbo land, and cultural rebirth rooted in traditional values. Ohaneze also announced plans to present its programs of the draft constitution to Imeobi, the organization's highest decision-making body, in due course. Still ahead, roadside hitchhiking raises passenger safety fares. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Go.
Thank you for rejoining us on OSRC News at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. The growing popularity of roadside hitchhiking is sparking increased concerns about passenger safety. Despite the risk involved, more passengers are choosing to board vehicles by the roadside rather than resort to traditional motorparks. In this special report, OSRC's correspondent Abidemi Akerotoye explores the dynamics of roadside transportation, examining the reasons behind its rise and the implications for passengers and drivers.
A notable shift is underway in how Nigerians travel. Increasingly, commuters are gathering at informal roadside locations, commonly referred to as sole, rather than relying on conventional motor parks. This trend is drawing attention and concern from key stakeholders in the transportation sector. Some passengers cited convenience and flexibility as major reasons for their preference.
Here it will be faster. Just when I'm here, we are only two. Now the car is about to be filled up and move. So it wastes the garage wastes time, and the boxes are not convenient. They are not ready even to repair it. Theirs is just to collect money. If you are convenient, it doesn't concern them. They will even be shouting on you as if they are the lords of that garage.
We are boarding along due to the cost efficient, cost saving, and sometimes time conscious. These are the reasons why we are boarding along buses.
Off camera, some roadside drivers admitted that they avoid motor parks to escape union politics, where older, senior drivers often get preferential treatments. Tunde Alabi, a roadside driver in Akure, attributed the trend to passengers' impatience and the relatively affordable transport fares.
It's just because some people did not even like to stay even a minute in garage. So due to some activities or what they really want to do at that very moment, so some of them are in haste to go to where they tend to go in time. From here to Ondo is 2,500, and on Sole they carry 2,150. So that's different of 500, 1,000 different from the normal price.
However, a visit to some major parks in Akure, the Ondo State capital, revealed that many passengers still consider security a priority and are willing to endure delays for the safety and accountability that come with related parks.
You can't compare park with moving on the road and just taking anyhow bus. You know, the challenges across the globe is security, so it's far better to come to park. When you just oppose between the price, there are huge differences. For example, now when you go by to take a bus or a car from here to Ondo, they can take 1,000 or 1,500, but here it's always 2,500. But to me, it's far better because at least you know that you are safe.
Reacting to the development, the chairman of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, Return, Adewale Bolarinwa, warned that roadside pickups expose passengers and drivers to serious dangers, including lack of traceability in cases of theft, assault, or accident.
First, it's a very risky task for you to leave motor park that can identify you when you are leaving or when you are entering the vehicle, the motor park, than go to a place that you don't know whom is who inside that private or any type of car along the road. It's a risk problem to the country.
He advised that for their own safety, passengers should consider using designated parks, which offers better structure and security.
You cannot just differentiate the real driver among of those people that kill on the road. Some of them are very dangerous, looking for way or manner to state manage and kidnap our people. I will use this opportunity to appeal to our to the public to please. We know that the situation of the town of the country is not easy. Let us save our lives by ourselves by not engaging all these unknown people, unknown transporters who use private cars to kidnap some of our public members.
As roadside transportation continues to grow, the debate between convenience and safety intensifies. While roadside hitchhiking offers cheaper options, the risk from unregulated operators to safety vulnerabilities couldn't be ignored. For now, the choice remains with the passengers, but at what price? Abidemi Akinrotoye, Osrc News.
Government workers, banks and schools in Ondo State resumed work today after the public holiday declared last Friday and Monday for the celebration of Eid al-Adha. Banks in Akure, the Ondo State capital, opened for transactions as customers were seen going in and out of different financial institutions till close of work. Also, schools opened early with pupils in uniform seen on major roads rushing to school and teachers subsequently taking them on in their classrooms. At the state and federal government secretariats, workers reported for duties at their various offices. The federal government had declared June 6 and 9 public holidays for Muslims in the country to mark the 2025 Eid al-Adha. Meanwhile, government offices in Kano State witnessed a low turnout of workers as civil servants resumed duty after the Eid al-Adha holidays. Only a few workers were present at their duty posts at various ministries, departments, and agencies in Kano metropolis. Banks swung into full operation as early as 8 a.m. with security at their best, but attendance was also low at the Federal Secretariat on Katsina Road. Markets and shops across the city also reopened with commercial activities gradually picking up. Meanwhile, Nigerian pilgrims for the 2025 Hajj are set to return home as Saudi Arabia announced the successful and peaceful conclusion of the Hajj pilgrimage for the Islamic year. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, while announcing the conclusion of the Hajj scheduled June 9 for the commencement of return flights for Nigerian pilgrims, Deputy Emir of Makkah region, Prince Saud bin Mishal, praised the kingdom's leadership for ensuring the event was free of any major health, security, or service-related incidents. He also lauded the pilgrims' compliance with regulations as a key factor in the season's success. And moving on to the foreign scene, nearly 1.7 million pilgrims from 180 countries have begun leaving sacred sites in Saudi Arabia after completing the Hajj. Some of them have been describing how the experience has affected their lives. Adewumi Taiwo now reports.
Some of them came from far away as Southeast Asia, others from Africa, Europe, and the Americans. But across geography, culture, and race, they became one community with a common purpose. They came to Mount Arafat for the central day of Hajj and a direct audience with the Creator. Some gave voice to their prayers, others did it in a silence that was just as powerful. It was a time of soul-searching and deep reflection. Arafat Day is not only about prayer, but also about repentance and a new contract with self and God. The next most charged moment was the symbolic stoning of the devil, which continued for 4 days, a special reminder that temptation is one of man's greatest enemies. Upon returning to the Grand Mosque, Muslims repeated the same rite they performed when they first arrived, circling 7 times around the Kaaba and going back and forth between the 2 hills of Safa and Marwa while saying prayers. After the completion of the rituals, many were overtaken by exhaustion, tired but also relaxed and calm. They say after 10 years of preparation, Samuel from Jordan was able to pay for his mother's Hajj.
When her application was approved on my very birthday, I saw it as a call from God to me. Just being at these sites can give one a great comfort, let alone when you're with your mother. It's really a double joyful sensation.
Other pilgrims described similar feelings of spiritual fulfillment and psychological peace.
I feel like a newborn baby, everything, I'm just clean. Alhamdulillah, mashallah.
Blessing, first blessing, first blessing. Thank you, Allah.
Very happy, and very I feel like a new person now.
And yet, the yearning for a second chance fills everyone's heart and soul, they tell us. Adewumi Taiwo, Osrc News.
9 persons have been killed in a shooting at a secondary school in the Austrian city of Graz. Austria's Interior Ministry said students and teachers are believed to be among the casualties after gunshots at the high school. Police spokesman said the suspected gunman was a 21-year-old former pupil from Graz who did not finish school. Austrian Chancellor Christian Stocker calls the shooting a national tragedy while announcing 3 days of mourning across the country. Right before we leave on Osrc News at 7, another look at the major stories. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has called for the urgent need to reduce plastic consumption and embrace innovative alternatives. The All Progressives Congress in Ondo State has criticized the People's Democratic Party for attempting to discredit the judiciary in its ruling at the Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal. The Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndigbo, has urged the federal government to release the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. And from the foreign scene, We told you that the Austria government has declared 3 days of mourning after a gunman killed 9 persons and himself at an Austrian school in Graz. That's it on the Osrc News at 7. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Oduayo Soya.
Go.